Chosen ones, have you ever wondered why your sex drive seems different, weaker, or almost gone compared to others? Maybe you've questioned yourself, thinking something is wrong with you, or that you've lost a part of your identity. But what if I told you it's not a mistake? What if this shift is actually God's way of protecting you from the traps that so many fall into, especially the traps of narcissists who use intimacy as their strongest weapon? Think about it. How many times has lust led people into toxic relationships, soul ties, and emotional prisons they couldn't escape? And yet here you are, shielded, even if you don't fully understand it. Today, we're going to uncover the truth, why God takes away the sex drive of His chosen ones, and how this so-called loss is really one of your greatest protections. Stay with me until the end, because the answer will change the way you see yourself forever. And before we begin, let me ask you this. Have you ever felt this way? Drop a comment and share your story. And don't forget to subscribe if you're ready to step deeper into your calling. Chosen ones, have you noticed how your sex drive doesn't burn like it once did? Maybe there was a time when desire felt overwhelming, when the pull of the flesh seemed stronger than your will, when attraction and lust dictated your decisions and even shaped your relationships. But now, you find yourself different. The fire is not the same. For some of you, it feels like it has disappeared altogether, and you are left wondering, what happened to me? Is something wrong with me? Am I broken? But let me tell you, nothing is wrong with you. What you are experiencing is not weakness, and it is not failure. It is a mystery of divine design. God, in His wisdom, sometimes takes away the burning of desire, not as punishment, but as protection. He knows the battles you face. He knows the traps laid before you. And He knows the schemes of narcissists who wait in the shadows, ready to use intimacy as their sharpest weapon against you. You see, sex is powerful, and in the wrong hands, it becomes a tool of manipulation. Narcissists use it to gain control, to bind souls, to keep you entangled in cycles of confusion and pain. Many chosen ones, because of their compassionate hearts and pure spirits, have been targets of these traps before. The narcissist sees your light, your energy, your healing presence, and they know if they can seduce you, they can drain you. And yet God has stepped in. By removing your sex drive, by dimming that hunger, He has placed a shield over your life. He has closed one of the easiest doors through which the enemy tries to enter. Think about how many toxic relationships began not with love, but with lust. Think about how many souls were chained, not by truth, but by physical intimacy. For so many, this is the battlefield where destinies are stolen. But for you, God has removed the weapon from the enemy's hand. And while at first you may have felt confused, maybe even embarrassed, the truth is that your so-called loss is really your greatest form of protection. Without constant desire pulling you into dangerous places, you are free to focus, free to heal, free to rise higher without distractions, free from the emotional prisons that many never escape. This season of your life is not about what you lack, but about what you gain. Your energy is being preserved. That sacred energy that once fueled desire is now being redirected into something greater, into spiritual strength, into creativity, into sharper discernment, into a stronger bond with God Himself. And this is why you may have noticed that when your desire faded, your awareness grew. Your dreams became clearer. Your intuition became sharper. You began to see people for who they really are. The fog lifted, and the masks of narcissists no longer deceived you. This is not weakness. This is transformation. Narcissists hate what they cannot control. And without the power of seduction over you, they find themselves powerless. They cannot trap you in the same way. They cannot use intimacy to cloud your judgment. They cannot feed on your energy through lust. You are shielded, and they hate it. Some of you may feel lonely in this season, wondering if you will ever experience intimacy again, if God has permanently taken something away from you. But let me assure you, this is not about denial forever. God is not cruel. He is not keeping joy from you. Instead, He is protecting you until the right time, until the right person, until the right connection that is not rooted in manipulation, but in truth. When that time comes, if it is His will, the fire will return in a holy and balanced way. But for now, you are in a season of training. Just as fasting strengthens the spirit by removing the pull of the flesh, so too does this absence of desire cleanse and refine you. It is like God has pressed pause on one appetite, so you can grow in other ways. And in this time, your mind is clearer, your emotions are steady, your focus is sharper. You are being prepared for a higher calling. And this calling requires all of your energy to be directed to your purpose, not wasted on battles that lead to nowhere. The world may not understand this. They may call it strange. They may try to label it as weakness or even shame. But remember, you are not of this world. You are set apart. And what looks like weakness to others is divine wisdom for you. God does not make mistakes with His chosen. Every detail of your journey is carefully written. Even this, the mystery of your vanished desire, is part of His plan. It is a gift disguised as loss. It is a shield disguised as silence. It is a form of freedom that many will never know. And when you look back one day, you will see how many traps you avoided, how many narcissists failed to bind you, how many toxic paths you never walked because God closed this door. So instead of asking, "What is wrong with me?" start asking, "What is God protecting me from?" Instead of seeing this as brokenness, start seeing it as sacred protection. Your energy is holy, your spirit is sacred, and your purpose is too great to be stolen by lust, manipulation, or toxic ties. You are not broken, chosen one. You are guarded, preserved, and hidden for greater things. And the day will come when this mystery will no longer trouble you, because you will see clearly that it was never a mistake. It was a shield built by the hand of God Himself.
Chosen ones, there are moments in life when God moves in ways that are invisible to the human eye, ways that may not make sense in the moment, but are filled with divine purpose. One of those hidden works is when He removes certain desires, including the sexual drive, not to punish you, but to protect you. You see, God knows what lies ahead long before you ever step into it. He sees the traps, the snares, the setups of narcissists and manipulators who would love nothing more than to lure you with temptation, entangle you with lust, and then drain you of your purpose. And because He loves you, He steps in quietly, without announcement, without asking permission, and He begins to shift something deep inside you. Suddenly the craving you once felt is gone, the pull is weaker, the fire seems dimmed. At first it may confuse you. You may feel that you have lost something essential, something that defines what it means to be human. But in reality, God has hidden His hand in your life to cover you from dangers you cannot yet see. Think about the times in the past when desire led you into relationships that left you broken, drained, or spiritually bruised. Think about how lust opened doors to people who did not deserve your heart, your energy, or your presence. If He allowed that desire to stay as strong as before, you would still be at risk of falling into the same cycles. But in His mercy, He has built a wall of protection, and that wall is the absence of the very drive that once controlled you. To the outside world, it may look like something is wrong, like you are broken, like you are missing out. But to heaven, it looks like wisdom. It looks like safety. It looks like love. God's hand often works in hidden places where others cannot see the details, but the outcome becomes visible in time. And this is one of those hidden works. By removing the intensity of desire, he is cutting off the enemy's most common weapon. The narcissist cannot seduce you if the hunger isn't there. They cannot trap you in toxic intimacy if the fire has been put out. They cannot use passion to cloud your judgment or twist your emotions. They cannot tie your soul with false promises when the very appetite that would respond has been quieted by God's touch. This is not a curse, chosen one. This is a covering. And though you may not fully understand it now, one day you will look back and see how many dangers you escaped because of it. Just like when a parent quietly removes poison from a child's reach, God removes desires that could poison your spirit if left unchecked. He doesn't need your permission to protect you, because his love for you is greater than your understanding. You may not see the enemy's traps, but he does. You may not feel the danger approaching, but he does. And in his hidden hand, he has placed a shield around you, a barrier that protects not just your body, but your destiny. What feels like loss is actually preservation. What feels like emptiness is actually fullness in another form. Your energy is not gone, it has been redirected. Your desire has not vanished, it has been purified and hidden until it can be revealed in the right time, with the right person, in the right way. And while the world may chase after desire as if it were the ultimate goal, you will walk in peace, not pulled here and there by cravings that lead so many astray. This is the mystery of God's hand in hidden places. He works in silence, yet his work speaks loudly in the results it produces. The narcissist will wonder why their tricks no longer work on you. The manipulator will wonder why you cannot be swayed by their charm. The enemy will wonder why the doors they used before are now locked tight. And the truth is simple: God has locked them himself. So, chosen one, instead of mourning what you think you lost, begin to honor what you have been given. You have been given freedom. You have been given safety. You have been given a shield that many wish they had. And most of all, you have been given proof that God's hand is upon your life, even in the places where you did not expect him to move. Do not despise this season. Do not curse what God has called protection. Trust that he knows the bigger picture, and know that his hidden hand never removes without replacing.
He takes away in one season. He restores in another, but always in a purer, safer, and more divine form. Chosen ones, one of the greatest weapons narcissists use is sex, because they understand the deep power that intimacy carries. Sex is not just physical, it is emotional, spiritual, and energetic. It binds souls together. It opens doors of vulnerability, and it creates bonds that are not easily broken. And narcissists, who thrive on control and power, know this truth well. They do not approach intimacy with purity or love. They approach it with strategy. To them, sex is not about connection. It is about domination. It is not about sharing. It is about taking. It is not about union. It is about control. And this is why chosen ones often become their prime targets. Your light is rare. Your heart is genuine. Your soul is radiant. When a narcissist encounters a chosen one, they immediately recognize the purity of your spirit. And they know if they can entangle you sexually, they can begin draining you of your power. They use intimacy like a net, pulling you in, binding you with false promises, overwhelming passion, and emotional highs that feel like love but are really chains. Once you are tied through physical connection, it becomes harder to see their mask. Your judgment becomes clouded, your emotions become tangled, and your spiritual clarity becomes blurred. That is why so many people stay in toxic relationships long after they should have walked away. The sex becomes a weapon that keeps them hooked, even when the love is absent. For the narcissist, intimacy is never about mutual joy or sacred union. It is about energy theft. Each time you give yourself physically to them, they feed off your spirit, leaving you feeling weaker, emptier, and more confused.
Have you noticed how, after encounters with such people, your peace disappears, your energy feels drained, and your mind becomes restless? That is no accident. It is spiritual warfare disguised as passion. This is why God, in His mercy, often removes the intensity of sexual desire from chosen ones. He knows how dangerous this weapon is in the wrong hands. He knows that if the enemy can seduce you, they can slow you down, trap your spirit, and derail your mission. The narcissist will use flattery, charm, and physical touch to break down your walls, and they will present themselves as everything you dreamed of, only to twist intimacy into a chain that binds you to their dysfunction. They know how powerful sex is, and they weaponize it to gain access to your emotions, your thoughts, and even your destiny. But when the desire is quiet within you, their weapon becomes useless. They cannot bait you in the same way. They cannot trap you with the same tactics. They cannot drain you because the hunger that would have opened the door is no longer there. Chosen ones, you must understand that this is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength. It is God's way of cutting off one of the enemy's greatest tools. For you, intimacy is sacred. For you, connection must be pure. And because God values your soul above all, He will not allow you to be destroyed by lust disguised as love. Narcissists hate this. They hate when they cannot control you through seduction. They hate when their strongest weapon falls powerless at your feet. They hate when their charm no longer stirs you, when their touch no longer deceives you, when their false passion no longer chains you. This is the evidence of God's shield over your life. While others may fall into the trap, you have been preserved. While others may be blinded by passion, your eyes remain open. While others may be drained and broken, you remain whole and guarded. Yes, there are times when you may feel the absence, times when you may wonder if you are missing out, times when you question why you are not like everyone else. But let me tell you, being different is your greatest strength. Being set apart is your greatest protection. You were never called to be like everyone else. You were called to carry a mission too important to be destroyed in the bed of a narcissist. And so God intervened. He removed the appetite that would have led you into their net. He silenced the hunger that would have made you vulnerable to their games. He preserved your energy so that it could be used for your purpose, not stolen by those who only wanted to feed off of you. Sex, in its pure and holy form, is a gift from God. But in the hands of a narcissist, it becomes a weapon of destruction. That is why you, chosen one, had to be protected from it. The very thing that the enemy tries to use against you is the very thing God has turned into a shield for you. So the next time you wonder why your desire feels absent, remember this truth. It is not punishment, it is protection. It is not brokenness, it is divine wisdom. It is not weakness, it is divine strength. The narcissist cannot enslave you because God has already set you free, and that freedom is priceless.
Chosen ones, what many see as a curse is often the very shield that God has placed around you. When your sex drive is silenced or greatly reduced, it is not because something is wrong with you. It is because something is right. It is divine protection wrapped in disguise, a spiritual shield guarding you from the very dangers that destroy so many souls. Celibacy, whether chosen or divinely imposed, is not weakness, and it is not shame. It is armor. Think about it. How many people around you are tied to relationships not out of love, but because the sexual bond keeps them chained? How many stay with narcissists, abusers, manipulators, simply because the physical connection is too strong to break? These attachments, these soul ties, are some of the heaviest chains a human spirit can carry. And yet, here you are, free from them. By removing the fire of lust, God has removed the bait from the enemy's trap. He has made you harder to ensnare, harder to deceive, harder to bind. The narcissist cannot create a soul tie with you if the very appetite that fuels it has been silenced. You're being guarded not only from unhealthy relationships, but from spiritual prisons that many never escape. Celibacy, in this form, becomes a shield that covers your destiny, keeping your energy pure, your heart steady, and your spirit unentangled. It allows you to walk through life with clarity, unclouded by cravings, untangled from toxic webs, and unattached to people who only wanted to drain you. And while the world looks at celibacy as emptiness, heaven looks at it as strength. The absence of desire means the presence of freedom. You are not pulled back into old cycles. You are not distracted by false connections. You are not tricked by the narcissist's mask. Instead, you move with focus, you move with discernment, and you move with a level of protection that many wish they had. This shield is not punishment, it is preservation. It is not God holding something good from you, it is God holding something dangerous away from you. Celibacy is not about losing, it is about keeping what is most valuable, your spirit, your peace, your destiny. For the narcissist, intimacy is a weapon to create ties that weaken you. But for the chosen one, celibacy is the armor that prevents those ties from ever forming. You remain whole, unbroken, untouched by the chaos that destroys others. And yes, there may be moments of loneliness, moments where you question the silence in your body, moments where you wonder why you are not like everyone else. But in those moments, remember this: everyone else is not called as you are. Everyone else is not carrying the same mission. Everyone else is not walking the same spiritual path. To whom much is given, much is required. And part of your requirement is protection at a level that others do not understand. Celibacy may look like loss, but in truth, it is the greatest gain. It is your shield against counterfeit love, against draining soul ties, against toxic bonds that would have cost you your calling. You are not missing out, chosen one. You are being saved. You are not broken. You are preserved. And the very thing you may sometimes resent is the very thing that will keep your path clear, your mind sound, and your soul unentangled until God decides the right time, the right person, and the right season to restore desire in its purest, holiest form. Until then, wear this shield with honor, for it is proof that heaven itself is guarding you.
Chosen ones. One of the most dangerous traps a narcissist sets is the invisible web of seduction, because it is never about love, it is about control. They know that sexual energy is powerful, magnetic, and binding. It is more than just a physical exchange, it is spiritual currency. When you give it away to the wrong person, especially a narcissist, you are not just sharing your body, you are sharing your light, your essence, your very energy. And that is exactly what they want. They feed off of it, using intimacy as a siphon to drain you while making you think it is connection. They wrap you tighter with each encounter until leaving feels impossible. This is why so many people stay in relationships long after the red flags have become obvious. It is because their energy has been captured, their soul entangled, their discernment clouded by the very bond sex creates. But for you, chosen one, God has broken the cycle at its root. By removing or reducing your sex drive, He has removed the weapon from their hands. The narcissist's web cannot hold you if the thread it depends on is gone. They cannot trap you with lust if you no longer hunger for it. They cannot manipulate you with promises of passion if passion no longer has the same pull over you.
Their greatest tool becomes useless in your presence because the appetite that once made you vulnerable has been silenced by God's protection. This is freedom at the deepest level. Not just freedom from the narcissist, but freedom from the bait they use to keep others bound. What looks like loss to you is actually power. Without the cloud of lust, you see clearly. Without the pull of desire, your spirit is steady. Without the constant craving, you are no longer an easy target for emotional predators. And the narcissist knows this. They sense they cannot hook you. They cannot reel you in. They cannot use your own energy against you because God has hidden it from them. You are walking proof that His hand is on your life, because where others get entangled, you remain free. Understand this. Breaking free from the narcissist's web is not always about fighting harder. It is about having no desire for the bait in the first place. You don't have to wrestle with chains if they were never able to lock them on you. You don't have to beg for clarity if your judgment was never clouded by lust. You don't have to battle manipulation if the entry point for manipulation was closed before they arrived. That is the power of God's protection. He didn't just rescue you after you fell into the web. He prevented you from being caught at all. And in this, your freedom is not only preserved, but strengthened, because the very weapon the narcissist relies on most has no power over you. You are free not just in body, but in spirit. Free not just from the narcissist, but from the craving that makes their web effective. This is why you can walk away when others cannot. This is why you can see their mask when others are blinded. This is why their games fail with you, because what once could have trapped you has already been stripped of its power. Chosen one, never mistake this freedom for weakness. Never look at your lack of desire as a flaw. It is one of the strongest forms of protection you carry. It is the reason you can break free, and it is the reason their web cannot hold you.
Chosen ones, there is something sacred about the energy that flows through you. Sexual energy is not just about physical desire. It is one of the most powerful life forces God has placed within the human body. It creates life, fuels passion, awakens creativity, and drives deep connection. That is why it is so often targeted by narcissists and dark energies. They know if they can control your sexual energy, they can weaken your spirit. But when God steps in and removes that burning drive, it isn't a punishment. It's a divine redirection. Instead of that energy being wasted in toxic attachments or drained by narcissists who only seek to feed off your soul, it gets preserved, purified, and transformed. Suddenly, you notice your intuition sharpening, your creativity flowing like never before, and your spiritual authority deepening. What once was physical hunger becomes divine fuel for higher purpose. You begin to walk with more clarity, pray with more power, and see beyond the illusions people try to place before you. This is not the loss of desire. It is the preservation of sacred energy redirected into your calling, your gifts, and your spiritual armor. For a narcissist, control is everything. Their entire sense of power comes from being able to pull strings, seduce, and bend others to their will. One of their strongest weapons is sexual manipulation, using charm, intimacy, or desire to entrap souls. But when it comes to chosen ones, this weapon often fails. Why? Because when God places His hand over a chosen one's desires, the narcissist suddenly finds themselves powerless. They cannot seduce you into a trap. They cannot dominate your spirit through intimacy, and they cannot create soul ties that drain your energy. To them, this is maddening. Narcissists feed on control, and when they realize they have no grip on you, they spiral into rage, frustration, and even obsession. They begin to sense that your strength is not human but divine, that you are operating under a higher covering. And nothing infuriates them more than a soul they cannot own,
a heart they cannot corrupt, and a body they cannot use as a leash. What they see as rejection is actually God's protection. The truth is, narcissists hate what they cannot control, and that is why your purity, your restraint, and your divine shield make you untouchable in their eyes. There comes a point in every chosen one's journey where God draws them into a season unlike any other. It feels strange, almost unsettling at first, because the very desires that once stirred within them begin to fade. The urge for intimacy, the longing for romance, even the natural pull toward companionship, all of it seems to quiet down. Many chosen ones mistake this silence as a curse. They think something is wrong with them, that they are broken, or that they are missing out on what everyone else appears to celebrate. But in truth, this season is not punishment, and it is not emptiness. It is spiritual training, a divine fasting period where God is preparing the chosen one for a higher calling. You see, just as the body fasts from food to cleanse itself, the soul sometimes fasts from desires to purify and strengthen itself. God knows that sexual energy, emotional ties, and romantic longings are some of the most powerful forces in human existence. And if left unguarded, these forces can lead to entanglements, distractions, and destructive patterns. For the chosen ones who carry rare assignments and heavy mantles, such distractions could easily derail their path. And so, in His wisdom, God shields them. He quiets those urges, not to deprive them, but to refine them. He turns down the noise of desire so their spirit can hear His voice more clearly. Think of it as a boot camp of the soul, a place where discipline is forged, focus is sharpened, and the heart is trained to rely fully on God. While others may spend their nights chasing after fleeting pleasures, the chosen ones find themselves on a different path, a path of reflection, prayer, and self-mastery. It is not that they are incapable of passion, but rather that their passion is being redirected. The fire within them is not extinguished, it is being purified and stored, waiting for the appointed time when it will be released in ways that serve a divine purpose. This fasting period is not easy. It often feels lonely. A chosen one might wonder why everyone else seems to be experiencing intimacy, relationships, or even marriage, while they remain untouched, almost as if God has set them apart on an island of isolation. But that isolation is not abandonment. It is a consecration. To be consecrated means to be set aside, reserved for something sacred. And that is exactly what God is doing. He is protecting His vessels from forming unhealthy attachments, from creating soul ties with narcissists and manipulators, and from wasting their energy on people who do not value their light. So during this season, distractions are stripped away. The cravings that once pulled at the flesh are replaced with hunger for the spirit. Creativity begins to blossom. Wisdom deepens. Intuition sharpens. The chosen ones may suddenly find themselves writing, building, creating, or discovering gifts they never knew they had. That is because the same energy that fuels desire is now being redirected into divine assignments. It becomes spiritual strength instead of carnal weakness. Consider the great figures of faith throughout history. Many of them endured long seasons of separation before stepping into their purpose. Moses spent years in the desert. Joseph endured captivity before his rise to power. Even Jesus Himself fasted for 40 days in the wilderness before beginning His ministry. These seasons of training were never wasted. They were necessary. They stripped away distractions, revealed hidden strengths, and prepared the chosen vessels for the weight of their calling. In the same way, your season of withheld desire is not wasted time. It is preparation. It is training. It is God's way of saying, I am building something in you that cannot be built in noise, in lust, or in chaos. I am teaching you to master your flesh so that your spirit will rule. And make no mistake, this fasting period is temporary. It is a season, not a life sentence. When the appointed time comes, God will restore what He has withheld. He will awaken desires again, but this time they will be holy, aligned, and under His guidance. The difference will be dramatic. No longer will desire drive you into toxic relationships or soul-draining entanglements. Instead, it will lead you toward divine partnership, healthy intimacy, and purposeful connection. You will no longer be controlled by desire, you will control it. That is the fruit of this season. That is the victory of spiritual training.
There is a kind of freedom that many people overlook because they are too caught up in the noise of desire, the pull of lust, and the cycles of attachment that come with it. But chosen ones, when God lifts certain desires from you, especially the craving for intimacy, something extraordinary begins to happen within your mind. A new level of clarity emerges, like a fog being lifted after years of wandering through it blindly. Suddenly, you are no longer consumed with thoughts of who likes you, who desires you, or whether you're giving enough of yourself to keep someone's attention. Instead, you begin to breathe in peace. The constant tug-of-war between longing and satisfaction fades, and in its place grows a calm focus that allows you to see your path with sharper vision. This freedom of mind is not just relief, it is a weapon. Without the endless emotional storms that come from toxic attachments, you gain stability that others rarely experience. Think of how many people repeat the same cycles, drawn into relationships that drain them, manipulated by false promises, and left broken when the mask finally falls. But you, set apart, begin to notice the patterns before they even form. The silence of lust leaves room for discernment. You sense danger faster, hear God's voice clearer, and find yourself walking with a confidence that doesn't rely on anyone else's approval. Emotional stability grows in this clear space. Where others are drowning in heartbreak or fighting battles with manipulation, you are protected. The absence of desire becomes a shield, keeping you from rushing into connections that were never meant for you. Instead of being driven by temporary feelings, you are led by wisdom. This is why your life feels lighter, why drama no longer chains you, why the past cycles of pain no longer repeat themselves. What once seemed like a curse, the loss of desire, reveals itself as one of the greatest blessings. For in this freedom of a clear mind, you discover that you are no longer just surviving love's traps, you are rising above them, untouchable, unstoppable, and fully aligned with the divine calling on your life. For most of the world, intimacy is reduced to something purely physical, an exchange of bodies, a moment of passion, or a fleeting sense of closeness. But for the chosen ones, intimacy cannot be measured in that way. You have been called to a higher understanding, a deeper connection that begins not with another human, but with God Himself. This is where the true definition of intimacy unfolds. Intimacy, at its purest, is not about touch. It is about knowing and being known. It is about vulnerability, not of the body, but of the soul. And no one can know you more fully than the one who created you. When your intimacy begins with God, something inside of you shifts. Your soul rests in His presence. Your spirit learns to lean on His guidance. You pour out your fears, your doubts, your hidden thoughts, and in return, you receive peace,
healing, and clarity that no physical encounter could ever bring. This is why, for the chosen ones, intimacy is redefined. You do not chase connections that leave you empty. You do not give your soul to relationships that cannot sustain you. Instead, you seek the closeness that strengthens your identity in Christ. And once you've experienced that depth of connection with God, you begin to recognize the difference between counterfeit intimacy and the real thing. Physical closeness without spiritual alignment will always leave you starving. But when intimacy is rooted in the Spirit, when two people come together with God at the center, then even the physical becomes an expression of something sacred, not just a desire. This is why many of you are being trained in this season to let go of lust, to release false attachments, and to hunger first for the presence of God. He is teaching you that the greatest form of intimacy is not found in another's embrace, but in His. And here lies the power. When intimacy is spiritual first, you are no longer deceived by surface-level connections. You no longer fall into cycles of toxic relationships, because your spirit recognizes what your flesh cannot. You are protected by discernment, covered by peace, and guided toward connections that are healthy, holy, and lasting.
Imagine this, chosen one. You are walking through a season where something feels missing, where the fire of desire you once carried so easily has grown dim. For many, this shift brings confusion and worry. Why don't I feel what I used to feel? Did something break inside me? Am I less than what I once was? But here's the truth. Nothing is broken. You are not incomplete. In fact, you are under divine care. God is not in the business of stripping away what makes you whole. He is in the business of restoring at the right time, in the right way, with the right purpose. God has a rhythm to everything He allows and removes in your life. Just as the tide pulls back before it rushes in with greater force, your desire may have been drawn inward, hidden for a season, so that when it returns, it will not be reckless, but rooted in something higher. This is not the end of intimacy. This is a preparation for intimacy that is whole, sacred, and safe. God's timing is never about denial. It is about protection. He knows the snares set before you, the manipulations designed to use your passions against you, and so, for a time, He places those passions into safekeeping until the day you can walk in them without chains attached. Think of it like a garden. If you plant a seed in the wrong soil, it will wither. But if you wait, prepare the ground, and plant at the right moment, that same seed will flourish into abundance. Your desires are like those seeds. In the wrong hands, in the grasp of a narcissist or someone who feeds on control, they can be twisted into chains. But when entrusted to God's timing, they bloom into love that strengthens rather than drains, intimacy that builds rather than destroys, connection that uplifts rather than entraps. And here's the beautiful truth. God is not trying to take intimacy away from you forever. He is protecting it, preserving it, and reshaping it for a divine context. If He chooses, He will reignite that fire within you. But this time, it will not consume you. It will not leave you entangled in webs of manipulation.
Instead, it will align with the love of a partner who honors your soul, who walks beside you rather than standing over you, who reflects the light of God rather than the shadow of self-interest. The enemy wants you to believe that the quieting of desire means you are broken or unworthy, but the truth is the opposite. It means you are chosen. God does not waste his refinement on just anyone. If he has allowed you to step into this season, it is because he has something greater for you. He has seen the counterfeit loves, the shallow offers, the draining entanglements, and he has said, "No more." Your heart, your body, your spirit are too precious to be wasted on what cannot last. So trust this. When the time is right, when your mission has been strengthened, when your spirit is rooted in clarity, God can and will restore what has been quieted. But this time, it won't just be physical passion, it will be sacred union. It will not be about lust or control, it will be about partnership and destiny. You will not be consumed by a flame that burns you out, but warmed by a fire that sustains you. Until then, stand firm in the knowledge that you are being refined. This is not punishment, it is preservation. This is not loss, it is protection. And when God restores, he restores in fullness, not halfway, not broken pieces, but wholeness. Trust his timing, for it is perfect. And in that timing, your intimacy will not just return, it will be reborn. Chosen ones, many of you have wondered why your desires seem different from those around you. Why is it that while the world glorifies passion, lust, and constant indulgence, you find yourself in a season where your sex drive is quieted, even silenced? You may have questioned, "What's wrong with me? Did I lose something? Am I broken?" But I want you to hear this with your spirit. You are not broken. You are being protected. This is not a punishment. It is not a curse. It is not a mistake. It is a gift, a divine shield placed upon you by God himself. And once you understand the spiritual wisdom behind this, you will stop seeing it as a loss and begin to embrace it as one of the greatest protections of your life.
There comes a time in every chosen one's journey when the things that once consumed their mind, their body, and their desires begin to fade away. And it can feel like a loss. It can feel like something has been stolen. The fire of passion that once drove you toward relationships, that once tied your body to cycles of longing and pursuit, suddenly begins to dim. And in that quiet place, you may find yourself asking, "Why me? Why now? Why does it feel like even the most natural parts of me are being stripped away?" But hear me clearly. This is not a curse. This is not a punishment. This is not weakness. This, chosen one, is a divine gift, a sacred shield placed over you by the hand of God himself. Because he has seen the traps laid out for you. He has seen the nets woven by narcissists, manipulators, and those who seek to drain your light. He has seen how desire, unchecked and unguarded, has been the very door through which the enemy has walked into your life again and again. And so God in his mercy has said, "Enough. My child will not be deceived again. I will pull them away. I will strip the counterfeit hunger, and I will redirect their soul back to me." What feels like a fading of desire is not emptiness, it is freedom. Freedom from chains you once thought were love. Freedom from cycles that always ended in tears. Freedom from the arms of people who never valued your heart, but only used your body. God is not taking something from you, he is lifting something off of you. He is clearing your mind, stabilizing your emotions, sharpening your focus.
Think of how much time you once spent worrying over relationships, entangled in toxic games, questioning your worth based on whether someone stayed or left. And now, in this holy quiet, you are no longer a prisoner to those storms. This is the freedom of a clear mind, where your thoughts no longer spiral around lust or attachment, but rest in peace. Where your heart is no longer tossed between false promises, but anchored in God's truth. It is clarity. It is stability. It is a peace that the world cannot give and cannot understand. And yes, there will be voices, both from within and around you, that whisper, something is wrong with you. Why aren't you like everyone else? Why don't you chase what they chase? But you must understand, chosen one, you were never called to be like everyone else. The mark upon your life set you apart from birth. The oil on your head will never allow you to blend in. And where others drown in lust, God has given you the grace to rise above it, because your destiny cannot be fulfilled in the arms of just anyone. You are not designed for counterfeit intimacy. You are designed for holy union, first with God, and only then, if He wills, with a partner who is chosen, healed, and aligned with His Spirit. This is where intimacy is redefined. The world will tell you intimacy is a physical act, a meeting of bodies, an exchange of pleasure. But for you, intimacy begins in the Spirit. It begins with worship. It begins with the deep sigh of your soul when you are alone with your Creator, when the world is silent and His presence floods your heart. That is intimacy. That is connection. That is oneness beyond what flesh can ever give you. And until you learn that, until you embrace that, every counterfeit intimacy will only drain you. But when you are rooted in that kind of divine intimacy, when you are full of God first, then, if He chooses to restore desire in His time, it will not be reckless. It will not be destructive. It will be holy. It will be safe. It will be with someone who will guard your heart and honor your destiny. So do not be afraid of the silence. Do not mourn what you think is loss. For in truth, this is a holy redirection. God has not forgotten you. He has not abandoned you to loneliness. No, He is protecting you. He is shaping you. He is purifying you. If and when He chooses to reignite your passion, it will not be for destruction. It will not be for another cycle of narcissistic abuse. It will be in a context that is whole, healed, and divine. It will be with a partner who does not use you, but cherishes you, who does not break you, but builds with you, who does not dim your light, but shines alongside it. And until that day, this stillness, this calm, this lack of desire is your shield. Chosen ones, you must see this for what it truly is. Your reduced sex drive is not an accident of biology. It is not a flaw in your design. It is not proof that something is wrong with you. It is evidence that heaven has intervened. It is proof that God is guarding you from entanglements that would have stolen your calling. It is a safeguard for your destiny, a rerouting of your energy away from distractions and toward divine purpose. Look back at the times when your desire led you into the wrong arms, when your longing made you ignore the red flags, when your hunger kept you trapped with someone who was slowly draining your life. Now, imagine God saying, "Never again." This shield is His answer. This shield is His love. And here is the beauty of it. What feels like lack is actually abundance. For when the body quiets down, the spirit awakens. The less your flesh cries out, the more your soul begins to sing. And in that song, you will hear God's voice louder. In that stillness, you will feel His presence deeper. You will pray with focus. You will fast with clarity. You will dream with purity. He is reclaiming your energy, not so you can feel empty, but so you can be filled with Him. That is the trade He is offering you. Lesser desire for greater purpose, fewer cravings for higher calling, less chaos for deeper peace. And if you can embrace it, if you can trust Him in this season, you will discover that you are stronger, wiser, freer than you have ever been. So walk with confidence, chosen one. Do not hang your head when others mock you or question you. Do not compare yourself to the world around you. You are not missing out. You are not being deprived. You are being preserved. You are being set apart for something higher. And when the time is right, when God decides, He will restore in a way that honors you, not breaks you. He will give you what you need, not what will destroy you. He will bring someone into your life who will not drain you, but walk beside you, and together you will serve a greater purpose. Until then, hold this truth close to your heart. Your reduced sex drive is not a mistake. It is a divine shield. It is heaven's protection. It is proof that you are chosen, proof that your destiny is greater than fleeting passion, proof that your energy belongs to a higher purpose. Do not fear the quiet. Do not fear the stillness. This is where you are safest. This is where you are closest to God. This is where your true power begins to unfold. And when the world cannot understand you, when even you cannot fully understand yourself, remember this: the one who created you knows exactly what He is doing. Trust Him. Trust the shield He has placed over you. Trust the path He is guiding you on. For in His time, all things will be restored. All things will be made clear, and you will see that what felt like loss was actually the greatest protection of your life. Chosen one, lift your head. You are not broken. You are not forgotten. You are preserved. You are guarded. You are shielded by the hand of God. Embrace the gift. Do not call it loss. This is your covering, your safeguard, your redirection into destiny. Your story is not over. It is just beginning. And this season of stillness is proof that heaven is fighting for you.